Cheyenne High School, home of the Cheyenne Mustangs. Got about 5 minutes left of warm-ups, but this is a special moment in the season for the Cheyenne Mustangs. The only senior on the team, Jaden Feist, is going to be recognized down here on the court. And so we're going to leave it to the public service announcer to explain a little bit about Jaden Feist. And so we're going to join you with that, and then we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about our senior.
And escorted by her parents, Jaden and Darren Feist. Jaden is a 3-year number one in Cheyenne girls basketball program. She's a great example of what we want and expect the members of the program to be. She's a terrific student academically, a great teammate, a servant leader, and has a tremendous work ethic and puts others ahead of herself. Jaden will graduate as one of the most decorated and successful members in the history of the program. She's in the top 5 in several statistical categories, including being at or near the top in multiple program records. Her legacy as a great player and even greater teammate in person will be recognized and felt for many years. Jaden's advice for her teammates is play every game like it's your last and enjoy your time because nothing lasts forever. Also, have fun, of course. As a coaching staff, we would like to thank Jaden for everything she has given the Cheyenne girls basketball program. The time and commitment you have given has allowed you to play a very impactful role in the continued development of our young program, and you certainly have helped with continuing to build the Cheyenne girls basketball legacy. We have thoroughly enjoyed having Jaden in the Cheyenne girls basketball program and look forward to continuing the rest of the season and tournament play with her as our senior leader. Thank you, Jaden. We all love you. A big round of applause for our senior, Jaden Feist. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, the Cheyenne girls basketball program would also like to announce that earlier this week, on Tuesday, February 9th, Jaden Feist recorded 15 rebounds. Her 15th rebound broke the program record for career rebounds. Jaden is now the Cheyenne girls basketball career leader in rebounds with 529 and counting. We want to present you with a game ball to celebrate your new record. Please join us in congratulating Jaden, this achievement is a great accomplishment.
Jaden Feist is the trainer's room and playing heyday together. I'm going to miss seeing your leadership through supporting your teammates.
My favorite thing about Jaden Feist is our moving game on away games, and I also inspired by her motivation for school and sports.
My favorite memory with Jaden Feist is going to Osley with her every single day after practice, and I'm going to miss her outgoing personality.
I'm going to miss how hard Jaden pushes me in practice and how she's always ready to joke around.
I'm definitely going to miss her contagious smile and the hype she brings on the bench.
My favorite thing about Jaden is how hard she works and how she always has a positive attitude.
My favorite thing about Jaden is how she always has your back and is someone you can always talk to.
My favorite memory with Jaden is playing Zoomy Zoomy on the bus rides home.
My favorite thing about Jaden is how she was so welcoming my freshman year and how she always pushes us to get better.
I'm really going to miss her contagious energy, but I'm still always going to look up to how positive she was on and off the court.
I love how great of a role model Jaden is to me on and off the court, and I'm going to miss how she encourages me to be successful in everything I do.
We love you, Jaden!
So we're coming back at Cheyenne High School after Jaden Feist was recognized down with her teammates. Coach Hintz brings his team back to talk a little bit about the pregame. I'm sure it was a little bit emotional for both Jaden and the coaches, quite frankly. If you didn't hear during that announcement, Jaden was recently recognized as the all-time leading rebounder in Cheyenne history. So although she is the only senior on the team, we talked about this in the last one. This is a pretty significant and difficult thing to replace coming in, even though she is the only senior on the roster. So as Hintz has indicated to us throughout the year, obviously he has a young and talented program, but a player like Jaden Feist comes along very rarely. And so certainly she is going to be missed. Probably the most impressive thing, as you saw that presentation, was just the way her teammates have reacted to her. Not only is she just a special player on the floor, but she is truly a leader in the classroom. She's a leader in the community. She's well loved by everybody, and certainly all of those recognitions and all of that support from her teammates is well deserved. So with that, we're sitting at about 2 minutes to warm up. We're going to take a bit of a break and recognize our sponsors, and we'll be right back to talk about this wonderful matchup that we have tonight between the Fargo North Spartans, the visitors on the scoreboard, and your hometown Cheyenne Mustangs. So we're going to take a quick break to recognize our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
What I love working about Marvin is I'm always given an opportunity to learn new things. There's never really a dull moment.
When my buddies from out of town ask me where I work, I love to share it. There's always opportunities. You can always move up.
You come in here willing to learn, and if you're willing to do that, you can go anywhere.
The people here is what makes the workplace enjoyable. It's a great place to work.
They have a great benefit package, and as I've been here even for a few years, I've seen that package being adjusted and tailored to try to meet our needs better.
Your experience coming in, our experience that we have here makes a great combination that we invite.
That generation that helped build this company to what it is today is now getting to retirement age, and we're now to that point in the company where a newer generation of workforce is stepping up to the plate. We're finding our own adventure. I think that's exciting. It is an exciting time to be a part of Marvin.
Student athletes and representatives of their communities, the Mustangs and Spartans are committed to fair play, responsibility, and respect. They invite you to support their effort. Together, let's all help create an environment for high school competition that we can be proud of. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, would you please rise and remove all headgear and remain at attention as we honor America with the singing of our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the Rockies' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Before the starting lineups, let's first meet the Cheyenne cheerleaders. Taylor Bronco, Sophia Lott.
So before we get to the starting lineups, Coach, obviously that was a special moment.
Lydia Shemp, Lauren Steffen,
And especially interesting to just watch the way her teammates reacted to her, just the excitement that they had for her.
Absolutely. Knowing a lot of the girls and some of the parents around here, I don't think I've ever heard a bad word uttered about Jaden in terms of her work ethic and her qualities as a teammate and those sorts of things. And I know, as sad as they're all going to be to see her leave, they have such respect for her. They love her so much, and they're going to desperately miss her just because of what a great person she is. So a special moment for the entire Cheyenne girls basketball program. It's hard to replace a player like that. There's way more than just statistics and made shots and things like that. You just won't find a better person than Jaden Feist.
We're going to now go to the starting lineup for the Cheyenne Mustangs. That's number 3, Peyton Breidenbach. Number 22, Olivia Manson. Those are both the three-point specialists for the Mustangs. Maya Metcalf, of course, one of the 2 post players that work the rebounds and score down low. Carson Sanders, another post player. And there's your lone senior on the squad, the one that was recognized in the pregame, Jaden Feist.
As we round out towards the end of the season here, these games are going to be important for determining seeding in the EDC tournament and those sorts of things. Probably a little bit different perspective for each team. Fargo North might not look like they have that a particularly impressive record on the year, but certainly Coach Kaluza is looking to probably see what he can glean or learn about his players as they make this stretch run. And it's an important time, that first time you go through an EDC tournament. And probably for Cheyenne, Coach Hintz probably thinking, hey, we want to put ourselves in a position where if we can steal that second round game and get to a first round game, I should say, not to play in, and maybe get ourselves to a chance to play in a state qualifying game. That's what Coach Hintz is probably pushing for at this point.
So the Mustangs do win the tip here. Looking down low for Maya Metcalf, and she connects right away. So post move there right away for Metcalf, and an early lead for the Mustangs. They come out in a little bit of a trapping full court zone here. North struggling to get the ball across, and they're going to call a timeout just a couple of seconds into the game here. Coach Brian Kaluza going to talk about how to answer that pressure. So with that, we're going to take our first break of the game as well. So coming back to you live here after the quick timeout. Mustangs pressure forces North into a timeout, but out of the timeout, Kaluza has something up his sleeve because they're able to sneak a layup in off the left-handed glass.
Those timeouts are kind of like gold. Probably Coach Kaluza didn't want to have to burn one 10 seconds or 20 seconds into the game, but I think when you have that young team, you just have such razor-thin margins. You don't want to let a game get away from you really quickly off the bat. And so probably just a smart play on his part, getting them settled down, and now we'll see if the things they talked about in terms of how to address the zone pressure that Cheyenne is showing, see if they can deal with that.
Layup in the fast break off the steal went to Feist, so Mustangs with an early 4-2 lead, 16:30 to go, looking into the high post. It looks like they're going to try a high-low action. Feist looks for Sanders down low, but that pass sails a little bit too high.
Yeah, like we talked about in the JV game, that high post, that high-low can be a super effective weapon, but it does take a little touch, a little practice at that. I think maybe Carson Sanders wants to work it a little bit, get maybe a better angle for Feist to drop that entry pass in.
Ball gets into the back court there, and that's over and back call, so a turnover on Fargo North. Manson to inbound here. She looks for Feist down low. Immediately, Feist looks for a drop pass into Carson Sanders, but that's knocked away by the Spartans. So they'll come back with it now. Ball in the hands of Weist. Ends up down low for Megan Dirk. And Dirk's going to be at the free throw line. Dirk is a 5'11 junior. She's going to have a couple of free throws here. First one a little bit short off the front iron there. That is the first foul on the Mustangs, and that one goes on number 14, Carson Sanders. Second free throw does rattle through. So 4-3 now, Mustang lead. Breidenbach tries to set it up, swing around. Sanders does a skip pass over to Breidenbach. Back into Sanders and down low. Sanders for three. Good looking shot there and a battle for the rebound. It ends up loose in the hands of Breidenbach. She tries to sail a pass over the top. And just as we were talking about in the JV game, Coach, that the lost start of the lob pass, we've had a couple of turnovers on it in the varsity game as well. So North now breaks the press. They are able to get it up through. Mustangs look to be in a little bit of a man-to-man here. 3-point, good box out, but nobody goes to grab the basketball for the Mustangs. Ball loose for a second. And a rebound goes out to Breidenbach. She pushes. Down low for number 13, Jaden Feist. So, Coach, obviously it is senior night. We got to talk a lot about Jaden Feist tonight. One of the things, she is the daughter of Darren and Jane Feist. Her nickname is J Baby. Sometimes goes by Jay. I think J Baby's a good one. 6'5" Mustang lead, 14:29 go.
So as it seems like we is the common defense now, we see so many teams playing this this high zone look and really trying to extend that and bring the pressure out to the wings and the point and that sort of stuff, and that seems what North is willing to do here. That should open up some soft areas just like that for Feist, but then the key is converting on those and seeing what you can do with that.
Everything down low into that.
So as Cheyenne looks to bring it up here, again, North meeting them high with that zone. You got to be careful as a ball handler not to walk into kind of that trapping look that the defense is going to produce with you. I think the key is keeping that ball moving quickly and crisply. And that time, good ball movement sets up Cheyenne for a three, and that was Lauren Fagerland as she gets a steal and puts it right back. And I think that's, this pressure D as Feist steps in front. That's the great equalizer in girls basketball right now. I think the teams that do a great job of pressuring, the teams that can put that heat on and force those their opponents to make some quick, ill-advised decisions, really produce so much havoc against their opponent that it's such a game changer for them. And I think that's one thing probably since we started doing the games around Christmas time. I think that's something we've seen Cheyenne grow and get better at is being a little more aggressive, being a little more physical, putting that pressure on as we see a turnover
knocks
right
that
here.
one loose. Yeah. And now it's in the hands of Jaden Feist. So yeah, the Mustangs scoring a flurry here, and they continue to work the basketball around. That's an elbow jumper for Feist, and she's able to score.
And they're just going to keep that heat up until North proves that they can do anything different with it.
Tip there.
And great defense.
And back in bounds.
Yeah.
Gotta love the energy from the Mustang crowd and the Mustang bench. But that little floater, I think, goes off the back iron, does give North a run-out opportunity, but they throw that pass away. So 13-5 early, 12:21 to go. Mustangs probably like the pace of this game so far, dictating a little bit of pressure on North.
And I think something we talked about in an earlier broadcast as well is you've got, with these sophomores and juniors, you've got a lot of good athletes for Cheyenne. Let's use them. You know, I know it's tempting at times to go with that 6 or 7 person rotation, but when you don't lose a lot when you're bringing these athletes off the bench, I think the more heat you can continue to put on a team, and if you can wear them down, boy, that's just such a big difference maker for you.
And that's a good sign there. Brooke Johnson hitting the 3. Obviously, as we said, you can tell the zone defense by North. They're probably going to give some of those perimeter jumpers. You know, Kaluza maybe choosing out of the 2 for Fargo North. He's going to gamble a little bit and make the 3-ball work for the Mustangs. You know, obviously they do have the 2 post players that score a lot of points in both Metcalf and Jaden Feist, who gets the steal there. And over to the aforementioned Metcalf. The other thing Kaluza might have a problem with tonight is that the Mustangs are also a really good 3-point shooting team.
Yeah.
So Mustangs do have 2 players in the top 10 in 3-point shooting with Breidenbach and Manson.
And we've talked about how the game is so different with that 3-pointer and what the metrics tell you that you should be shooting 3s actually are a better choice than 10 or 15 footers. So yeah, you just want to, you know, for Kaluza, for Fargo North, you're going to say, okay, let's hopefully force them to make some shots, but it's a little disheartening when you know that you have some really good shooters on your opponent and that they are probably going to make a lot of them.
Substitution, and out comes Brenna Dick. She's a freshman. I will say she's grown throughout this season. That steal there was a near steal, at least. They did call her for the foul. And she hit a floater right before that. So she's shown a lot of growth throughout this year just as a freshman. So that's exciting for Coach Hintz as well.
Yeah, I remember the first game we did is she kind of looked like that whirling dervish out there. She was all activity, all action, good 5-second turnover there for the Mustangs. You know, but I think Coach Hintz has gotten Brenna Dick to kind of harness that and know when to use that aggressiveness, when to use that athleticism, rather than just flying around all the time.
And you can tell she's got some explosiveness in that drive, and certainly probably just playing against girls her own cage as we have a nice high-low action there from Metcalf to Feist. But as we finish up that thought on Brenna Dick, you know, I see a lot of and another. These girls aren't going to give me an opportunity to finish that analysis. I guess the last thought I had with her was, you know, she's able to generate things off of both hands now without trying to put her head down and drive, and she might have got away with that when she had younger competition, but now she's really cleaning that up and finishing at the rim as well. So North looking to stop the bleeding a little bit. Mustangs look to push. That's Manson for 3. She'll hit back iron, rebound. That's Brooke Johnson with it. And there is Feist fighting, and she gets an N1.
You know, we knew throughout the season that that was going to be the big difference maker inside because of her strength, because of her size for Jaden Feist. But you know, I think Maya Metcalf is the one that has really come a long way by adding that extra big player, that extra big body that can control the boards, that can has a good touch, that sees the floor well, passes well. I think as she's emerged. Now you have those two legitimate big players, and we've seen it with the boys again and again and again. There's just no substitute for size. You can't coach that. Either you have it and you know how to use it, or you don't.
Yeah, pretty impressive start from the senior Jaden Feist. Couple of things that we do want to kind of point out to you during this timeout. So she is going to MSUM to study speech, language, and hearing sciences. She's also signed on to play volleyball at MSUM. So she's a track athlete. She's in HOSA. She's in volleyball. She loves going to the lake. You know, so she's a pretty special kid that we've had, and she's having a great start to this game.
She really is. And there's never going to be a lack of effort on Jaden Feist's part. You know, not everyone plays great every game, and that just is part of what comes along with sports. But you will never fault her for the effort that she's going to give you each night, and she's really gotten it rolling so far early in this game as she's looking to go and complete the old-fashioned three-point play out of the timeout.
So as she's shooting this free throw, too, I did ask Jaden before the game, hey, any shout-outs? First thing that she said is she wanted to thank her parents and her family for all the support, always attending her games, cheering loud, and she especially wanted to thank her friends for supporting her teammates, and a special shout-out, she said as well, to her coaches who mean a lot to her, Coach Hintz, Coach DeMaine, help her to learn and grow in the sport. And so it's just special to see a player of her ability also being that humble and honoring all the people that put in time to get her to where she needs to be. She understands that, and she's a great kid. So 25-5 is the lead right now. We're now under 10 minutes to go. North does generate a turnover there, and the Mustangs continue to look to trap in the backcourt. And that's an ideal spot for the trap. Two hands on the basketball. It actually looked like for a second they may have stepped into the backcourt, but doesn't really matter because Mustangs come away with it. Maya Metcalf from the corner, and she splashes one. So the Mustangs stay hot, 27-5. Excellent start for Coach Hintz. He's still got energy out of these girls, and they continue to trap.
Well, and I think the thing that as I watch this, you know, it's not one or two people that are driving this trapping defense, you know, where you're relying on just one or two individuals. Everybody is giving great effort. They're seeing the floor so much better. They're spacing so much better. They're anticipating shots way better than they did early in the year, and that's been huge, and they've made it tough on North as Olivia Manson commits a foul there, but, you know, she rushes up on a player that really kind of just bringing it up kind of nonchalantly, and those things don't maybe show up in a box score except for that Olivia Manson picked up a foul, but those are types of plays that when it's contagious. You see another player do that and you go, man, I can make a play like that. I can hustle. I can tip a ball loose.
North to inbound here. They kick it out. There's a three-point look. That's a good find. An unoffensive rebound, but I think that is blocked, I think, by Metcalf. And the push ahead by Breidenbach. She hesitates, looks for a three for a second. I think she was a little surprised she was open. Comes back to her now. Ball moving over to Manson. She works her left. Gets to the rim, but that's thrown off the glass, and North comes down with it. Mustangs still trapping in the backcourt. Drive to the left there. Carson Sanders, pretty good defense, but the one thing that beats good defense is better offense, and North able to connect on that one. Looked like that bucket was by Grace Miller.
Yep. And like we talked about, you extend that zone too high. You're looking to put some pressure on that point guard, but it leaves that wide open area, and Metcalf makes some pay there. And like we said, Coach Kaluza, you're kind of having to just make some tough choices about how you want to make this work. And if you can do that, because I don't think North maybe matches up quite as well with Cheyenne as they would like.
So that foul is going to get North to the free throw line. Three subs coming in for the Mustangs here off the free throw. So Feist, Brenna Dick, and number 12 for the Mustangs. Lauren Fagerlund back in.
So I tend to think these next 2-3 minutes probably are going to be pretty important for North. You know, I think at some point you have to settle down. You got to kind of figure out what you got going on here offensively, handling this press, those sorts of things. You're down 22 already, and no one's going to expect you to make a big comeback. But I think if you could dig this down to about 15 over the next handful of minutes and take care of the ball and see the floor, I think that, you know, that's the type of thing that's going to really help the Spartans.
Drive there does get them an opportunity, I think, at the free throw line here.
Yeah, that
number
was
31, Grace Miller, again at the free throw line. I think she did come up a little bit gimpy on that one. Not sure what she landed on there, but hopefully she's going to be okay.
I think that was good of her to exploit that. They had the 2-1 advantage. Maybe not great angle coming in, but you're forcing Cheyenne to make a decision and able to draw a foul out of the situation on Metcalf.
And that is the 5th team foul there on the Mustangs, so unable to connect on the free throws, but Fagerlund pushes it up, and that does end up with number 12.
Great job by Feist, just keeping the ball high, going up quickly off that backboard before the defense has an opportunity to adjust. Good pass.
Pass, I'm not sure how Metcalf probably was a little surprised it got through her hand there. And that does get North a shot at point-blank range there. Brenna Dick with it now, and back in low to Metcalf, and I think she's going to get bumped at about the 5-foot range. So a good find and feed into the interior of the Fargo North defense does get Maya Metcalf an opportunity at the free throw line with 6.5 to play here in the first half. And one thing that you can see out of Metcalf is her shot is definitely ends up looking really soft, you know, for a player of her strength and down low. She does have a really soft touch, both at the free throw line and on the wings.
Yeah, great mid-range shooter. I think, you know, as you look at players and maybe what is it that they're missing, you know, I think the more she's able to develop a little longer range shot would really make her a multifaceted player. I know Coach Hintz is happy keeping her around the basket right now, but if she develops that ability to draw defenders out because of the shot and some ball handling, boy, that would really make her a very difficult player to guard.
So that's a couple of possessions in a row here that North is able to get to the free throw line. So 16 foul on the Mustangs. That is the first individual foul. That one goes on Peyton Breidenbach.
Faulkner knocks down the first one, and, you know, that's a byproduct of the pressure D. A lot of times what comes with it is that high foul count and such a fine line between being aggressive but being smart out there. And obviously Coach Hintz is pushing his girls to be aggressive, but it has meant that now Fargo North will be shooting the bonus the rest of the way in the first half, at least the single bonus. Looks like Coach Hintz maybe going to make some kind of defensive adjustment here as the Mustangs add that lead or bring that lead up to 25 with 6 minutes left to go in the first half.
So we're going to take a quick timeout here, recognize our sponsors. We'll be right back. Welcome back to live action. So it is senior night, 6 minutes to play. Feist already with 17 points, which is just incredible. And the energy coming out of this is incredible as well. So we see number 12, Fagerland, hits another 3. So just an all-around exciting night for Cheyenne basketball. I think you can tell by the rest of the squad as well. They're ready to make this a kind of a milestone moment for Jaden, but they're happy to keep that energy going for everybody. And as they leave Feist open there at the elbow jumper, her shot goes a little long. So
I think one thing that has impressed me, oftentimes when you're looking to set up this kind of pressure or trapping defense, it often comes off of a made basket where you have a couple seconds to maybe set things up. Cheyenne's look very comfortable, even on rebounds, defensive rebounds for North, that they're still able to get in this without North breaking through it right away. And again, I think that's some signs of growth for the Mustangs and their defensive philosophy and what Coach Hintz is looking for them to try and do.
Down low to Feist, and she just continues just being red hot. If you were to say, hey, I scored 19 points on senior night, everybody'd say, that's a great night. There's 4.5 minutes playing the first half here, Jaden Feist. And that ball sails out of bounds. We did say pick your poison. I'm not quite sure what the poison is here for Kaluza. He's going to have a lot of questions to figure out here coming into the half. Down 30 here. The Mustangs are first in three-point shooting on the season. They're shooting 36.49%. That's 4% higher than Fargo Davies. So they have the moves on the outside. They got the people that can shoot there, and right now it's kind of hitting on all cylinders.
I think as a team, as a coach, as you're moving ever closer to tournament season, having efforts like this is got to make you smile. It's one of those things where your head hits the pillow at night and it's hard to fall asleep because you were so happy with the way that your team executed and the way that they're putting your game plan and running it the way you want. As we get a steal right here. And
layup for Brenna Dick there on the steal, freshman. I was teasing her again. I've said this at a couple broadcasts. I was teasing her the other day at school. I said, you've tricked me. I thought for a long time you were left-handed. As we see, I think that's Steiner that hits the 3. Yeah. Brenna Dick has kind of that ambidextrous look to her game. She loves to attack to the left side, but she's actually a right-handed shooter. And Jaden Feist. Wow, Coach. Wow. It's just impressive now.
It really is.
Sitting at 21 points here in the first half and just absolutely powered through that one. That one, offensive rebound goes to Maya Metcalf, and she's going to be at the free throw line again.
And I think another thing as you watch this, yes, there's a steal, but there's 4 Mustangs getting down there in position for an offensive rebound. It's not like, she got the steal, we'll just let her go and try and finish. These girls are playing gang defense and gang offense, and everyone wants to be a part of it.
Obviously, Jaden Feist is top 10 in scoring on the season. She's 9th in the EDC at 13.5 points. She's also 9th in the EDC in rebounds at 7.5, just behind her teammate Maya Metcalf. So she's averaging a double-double, but, I guess tonight those numbers are going to go up. Good steal there. And out of bounds. Mustangs got their hands in the passing lane. They're playing with energy. They're scoring down low. They're hitting threes. I think whatever Hintz had these girls eat for supper, he's going to probably try to see if they can get that same meal for the EDC and state tournaments if they're able to make it that far. That pass sails out of bounds. So Manson to inbound here. Breidenbach to set up the half court. So a little bit of a different zone look here this time for North. It does end up down to Feist. And even though she's kind of pinched from both sides of the defense, she puts that one off glass and scores again. Wow, Coach.
Boy, they're going to call that one off of Carson Sanders. I don't know that she got her hand up because that pass was zipping through there so quickly, but that's what the call is going to be. But again, Cheyenne doing a good job of just kind of baiting North into believing that there's a passing lane and then shutting it down. And
for North, obviously, like you said, coming in, they haven't won a lot of basketball games, but they're hitting a buzzsaw tonight in Jaden Feist. Calusa's going to probably leave this game, obviously, 51-13 in the first half with 2 minutes to play. Certainly he's not going to walk away feeling happy, but at the same time, he's going to recognize that something special is happening here with Jaden Feist tonight, and he just happened to be the recipient of it. 1:58 to go.
Sometimes just your best laid plans you're not able to execute, or the other team is just better or hotter on that night. And I think that's what we're seeing with Cheyenne.
So we're sitting at 13 on the shot clock. They do get the ball into the high post here. Steiner with it now, and she passes it. I think Carson Sanders ends up tipping that basketball out of bounds. There's only 6 seconds left on the shot clock. North really didn't get anything established here in that situation. So Feist comes out with 1.5 minutes to play. Her teammates cheer for her here.
I don't know
now
if
we're
they're
sitting
aware
at 2.
of the, yeah, okay.
Long 3. And I don't think that one does end up catching iron. And so that's going to be a turnover after the shot clock violation. So 1.5 to play, 51-13. Mustangs lead. Breidenbach to set up another half-court set here.
North can go a little man-to-man, and now that Feist is out, see if they can do something with that. But, of course, you still have Metcalf on the floor who knows how to work the post. And Carson Sanders, nice take, little kiss off the glass on that one.
Carson Sanders does a nice job kind of adjusting the basketball as she drives through and kind of pulls it away from the North defenders so that nobody can get it and throws it off glass. Nice job by Carson. Shot from the corner there. That's number 14 for North. Hands with the bucket. So 46 to go in this first half. Maya Metcalf with it at the elbow. Breidenbach now going left. North converges, 4 defenders, and they come out with it. So they're going to push. This is Hamner with it now. She's going to be trapped at the half line, and a push up ahead now. That's going to be Breidenbach. She'll finish.
And that was it. The North dribbler, so concerned about where the rest of the Cheyenne defenders were, walked right into that corner and provided them with a trap opportunity that really wasn't there to begin with. The Sanders is going to push it up and draw the foul.
So Sanders going to get to the free throw line with 6 seconds left to play in this half. Mustangs up 55-15. Obviously for Hintz and Demain and Kuntz on the bench, they are I'm sure they're just elated with what they're seeing out of this crew. Obviously, you could see the energy brought for senior night, trying to make this special. Jaden making it special, and for Coach Kaluza on the other side, just frustration that they're caught in the middle of this, the energy that the Cheyenne Mustangs are bringing. Sanders makes her second. So now with 6 seconds left to go, Steiner going to bring it up, see if they can find anything here in the last few seconds of the first half. That she throws that one off the glass, and so 56-15, Mustangs flexing their muscles, feeling good about the first half. A lot of energy. Coach Hintz is going to go in certainly and recognize her senior and the first half that she had. We're going to give you some breakdown of stats. We're going to take a halftime break here, but Coach, final thoughts here, what you just saw?
Just impressive. And we don't need to, doesn't matter who the opponent was. I think that's as complete a half as we've seen Cheyenne play so far this year. And so obviously Coach Hintz has to be pretty excited about what he's seen so far.
So we're going to once again recognize Jaden Feist during this halftime. Take a listen if you haven't had the chance to do so yet. Listen to her teammates and the message that she has for that they have for Jaden Feist. And after that, we'll be back with the second half wrap-up, or the first half wrap-up, and hopefully you'll enjoy us for what is sure to be a second half that continues to be special for the Mustangs.
Memory with Jaden Feist is the trainer's room and playing hayday together. I'm going to miss seeing your leadership through supporting your teammates.
My favorite thing about Jaden Feist is our moving game on away games, and I also inspired by her motivation for school and sports.
My favorite memory with Jaden Feist is going to Osley with her every single day after practice, and I'm going to miss her outgoing personality.
I'm going to miss how hard Jaden pushes me in practice and how she's always ready to joke around.
I'm definitely going to miss her contagious smile and the hype she brings on the bench.
My favorite thing about Jaden is how hard she works and how she always has a positive attitude.
My favorite thing about Jaden is how she always has your back and is someone you can always talk to.
My favorite memory with Jaden is playing Zoomy Zoomy on the bus rides home. My favorite thing about Jaden is how she was so welcoming my freshman year and how she always pushes us to get better.
I'm really going to miss her contagious energy, but I'm still always going to look up to how positive she was on and off the court.
I love how great of a role model Jaden is to me on and off the court, and I'm going to miss how she encourages me to be successful in everything I do.
We love you, Jaden!
So welcome back to live action here at Cheyenne High School. After a really special first half by Jaden Feist, she ends up with 23 points in the first half, Coach. 10 points higher than her season average just in the first half here. And that might be the first thing that she's done wrong all night there, picking up the foul on the drive. And that's her first personal. So just a pretty incredible night, Coach.
It really is. You know, some nights they just go like that. At least I've heard. They didn't happen for me quite so much that way, but in visiting with some folks I know in the Fargo North fan base, we're asking, you know, if we were keeping it upbeat and what we were talking about up here, and I said, you know, when the senior athlete for the opponent is outscoring you by herself, that makes it really hard if she's going to unload a three there.
And if that one would have dropped, I think her bench would have probably lost their marbles.
Probably so. But, you know, I'm sure Coach Coos at halftime, you just have to understand what's going on. And we keep talking about sticking to game plans and executing. And I think that's what North is trying to do, the same way West Fargo or Cheyenne is trying to. They're just kind of at different positions right now as teams.
So that's number 3, Peyton Breidenbach. Her brother is on the camera tonight doing camera work for us, Zach, so I did ask if he wanted a message, and I think his message was, hey, nice job, sister. So 3-point look for number 5 out of that's Arden Faulkner able to connect for North, so they come out of the halftime with a little bit of energy, so whatever Clues has said, got some things working for them.
I think that was, you know, good ball movement. They got the shot that they wanted. You know, Cheyenne has been hounding them so hard throughout the game that they've been taking shots that they're probably not the ones they're hoping for. I think just as the pace is a little slower here to start the second half, I'm going to guess North is probably going to get looks that they're actually wanting, and that's going to be good for them.
So Breidenbach with it now. She's going to dribble it up. She's looking for Feist down low. Feist definitely gets her position, and she connects again. 25 points now for Jaden Feist. North with it now on the wing. That's Carlson. Kicking it over to Hans. 3-point look. That's a good little spin.
I think that was
off the
a
screen
shot that they should be happy with.
Yeah, absolutely. Up ahead to Olivia Manson. She shot fakes, runs a floater. That's going to end up out of bounds on the Mustangs. Good little shot fake, and I think Hintz likes that little runner. Just ended up a little short for Manson. 15:40 to go in the second half here. Mustangs up 60-19. Not sure what the all-time scoring mark here, Coach, for the Mustangs is single game. I'd like to see if Jaden Feist break it on senior night. What do you think?
That would be pretty special. Pretty special. Yeah, I'm not sure what the high point.
If I were a betting man, I'd put it on Maggie Manson.
Well, I was going to say,
owns most of the records here in the scoring column. But
I would have guessed that the name Manson was attached to it somewhere, somehow. But, you know, she probably also poured in quite a few threes on that. And, you know, Jaden Feist is doing her work around the basket from about 6 or 8 feet in, which makes it, I think, very impressive what we're seeing here tonight.
Breidenbach's first free throw does connect, so now it's 61-19. Mustangs on the season are averaging 66 points a game, so they're going to do that here with probably about 14 minutes to play in this second half. So offensively in the first half for the Mustangs, they really couldn't do much wrong, Coach. They were hitting from inside, they were hitting from outside, there were offensive, defensive rebounds, there were steals.
I was going to say the pressure defense was what was impressive to me. The activity, the level of activity from all the players in the first half, I think turned that tide pretty quickly for the Mustangs. You know, and as we get forward, you know, next week they have both Grand Forks schools coming up on the calendar, and they beat Grand Forks Central earlier in the year here at home, but we know Red River is a very quality team in the EDC, and I think for Coach Hintz to feel like his team is starting to peak at the right time has got to be a good feeling.
That was an excellent dime there by Olivia Manson off her left hand. They run a little elevator screen up top for Olivia, and she's able to find a great dime for Carson Sanders. Now we'll look like we're going to get a Breidenbach three-pointer. That one falls a little bit short, but good drive and then a dish down low. That's going to get number 23, Megan Dirk, to the free throw line.
That was a nice move by Fargo North there, drawing those Cheyenne defenders to her and then dumping it off for Dirk and being able to get to the line on this. I think those are the types of plays that Coach Kaluza is probably looking for his team to make.
I might have to yell out, Coach, tell Jaden Feist to stop fouling people. That's her second foul now. I don't want her to get 3 or 4 because I want to see this continue tonight. This has been a great show. Sanders over with it. Now the post will go to the elbow. Up top, Brenna Dick passes over to Manson. She goes left. And a spectacular.
That was a nice move with that left hand, staying focused on the backboard.
I think they're going to wave that off and say it was an offensive foul. I think Coach Hintz is asking for an explanation because it did appear, at least initially, that was in the cylinder, or minimally it was somebody sliding underneath. It looked like Olivia was able to get that one in, but
there was a lot of bodies down there, so it was hard to see where the feet were in terms of that contact area and that sort of stuff. But boy, that looked like a pretty good shot. That had left her hand before there was any kind of contact. But
well, that's one of those things. Maybe as a coach, you say, "Hey, Manson, heck of a play. Regardless of how that turns out on the score, that's exactly what I want you to keep doing." So
absolutely.
Now North working it around the perimeter again. Couple of dribble handoffs, and Brennan Dick says, "I'm going to go take that from you."
Great
anticipation.
Goes all the way up
and finishes. Still see a lot of smiles on the faces of the girls. They're having a lot of fun here with senior night. 66-20 now is the score. 13 minutes to play. They've now reached their scoring average. And a good shot from the corner.
That little miscommunication on D there. I don't think Coach Hintz was going to, regardless of who the player is, you don't want to leave someone left alone like that in the corner where they can just spot up and take that three. So I think there's maybe
that was Faulkner that made them pay, and a little trap there by North, and that gets them to turn over. And Faulkner has a layup, so she scores 5 points in about 20 seconds.
She's quietly had a pretty good game for the Spartans tonight. She's knocked down some threes. She's been active on the defensive end. I think she's had a pretty nice game. I don't know how many points she has, but just kind of feels like it's creeping up here.
Well, and there is Faulkner again on the poke out, and she gets all the way to the rim. She was about ready to score 7 there in about a minute and a half, but her layup doesn't land. So good find there to Maya Metcalf, and she's fouled. Extra pass there by Carson Sanders, exactly what you'd like to see in transition. She immediately catches the ball down in the corner and looks into the interior, finds a cutting Metcalf, and Metcalf goes up strong and is able to get to the free throw line here. First free throw does go through. Again, I'm continue to be impressed by Metcalf's perimeter, or that mid-range soft touch she has. The ball spins well. Free throws look super clean. Yeah, it is one of those things that, as a sophomore, Maya Metcalf may very well end up turning into even a three-point shooter and finding more and more opportunities from deeper range because it is a really soft shot. Push up ahead, goes to Brenna Dick. She pulls it back. So the Mustangs now are in a man-to-man. Tipped. And they're going to say a little bit of body foul there. I think that one's going to end up being on
Metcalf. Yeah.
Trying to get that loose ball. So 11:30 to go here. Mustangs up 68-25. Baseline out of bounds for Fargo North. Faulkner with it. She kicks it over. Good shot fake there by number 2. And an excellent find. That's Sanford into number 25's feet. One of the best plays of the night, I think, for Fargo North. And that ball goes down low into number 13, Jaden Feist. One of the few times she hasn't been able to connect. So with 11 minutes to play here, ball comes in and is stolen by North, and that's going to be Faulkner getting to the free throw line. So you said, Coach, she was having a sneaky good game. Well, it's turning into a more apparent good game.
Yeah, really, she's kind of been all over the floor here, really putting herself in good positions to have scoring opportunities and looks like that.
Faulkner is a 5'9" sophomore, so she's got a couple years of varsity left in her. So that one goes off the back iron, and Brenna Dick able to gather the rebound. And back to Brenna Dick. She'll take a 3, steps into it. That goes back iron. Brooke Johnson down into Feist. That extra pass gets Jaden Feist 2 more. I believe she's up to 27, if my math serves me correctly. I do want to shout out, I did ask Jaden who your favorite teacher was. I didn't ask who her favorite middle school teacher was, so don't be offended here, Coach Wolf, but she wanted to shout out her English teacher, Steph Swickla. So Steph, if you're listening, Feist likes your class. She does say they got to write a lot of essays. There she is again. But she said, yeah, that's not Swickla's fault. Got to do all these FRQs, she says, in Swickla's class, but Swickla is her favorite teacher. So Feist now into the 30s, Coach. Wow. Knocked out of bounds there.
That has been impressive to watch as we see some wholesale substitutions here for both squads.
She said her favorite basketball memory was beating West Fargo to get into the state tournament. This one's going to be up there, I bet. Brenna Dick on the steal and a bucket.
But I think Jaden's the type of player that would put any kind of team achievement over a personal good game or a personal achievement any day of the week. So
I did ask her, do you feel like this team is special in any way? And she said, absolutely. She said the pandemic has created a stronger bond between her teammates. She said she loves that. She said it's been crazy, but they stick together, and she just loves her teammates. So. Look down low for Manson. She kicks it out. Good drive there.
Good slashing move
Breidenbach
right there.
able to finish after a pretty slick little drive there, getting around her defender and finishing off the glass. North looking for a screen roll at the top of the key. That does get a kick out 3. Brenna Dick with it. She's stopped. Breidenbach now. They look down low. Feist again. Unbelievable. 8:15 to go in the second half here. Feist she's having a night. Kaluza will take a timeout. We're going to do a little bit of math, make sure that this is right, and maybe I can have somebody over at the scorer's table tell me what the record is. So we're going to take a quick break. So we are coming back to live action here, 8:11 to go. Feist with 31 points here. Seems that every opportunity she has had down low, she's been able to convert. Her teammates are still laughing, having fun with her. She's still having fun. 50-point advantage. We did get a score update. Coach, what was the score update from the North boys game?
Boys game currently Cheyenne leading the Spartans 67-59 with 6:42 left in the second half. But a pretty tight game up there. And, we know that North is a pretty quality team for the boys. Maybe they haven't been consistent through the whole year, but especially at tournament time, everybody's going to be looking to give you their best shot as the #1 team in the state.
Breidenbach had a couple of looks at 3 there, but she kept using that extra pass. Now they're going to go back low to Feist. And there's another one. That's 33 now.
With 7 minutes left to go in the game.
Earlier in the season, I know Metcalf did have, I believe, 34. So obviously Feist is narrowing in on that. She's getting some rarefied air with those mid-30 scores, and with that you get a kind of a standing ovation from the crowd and a hug from her coach. She hugs all of the assistants on her way back to the bench. Not sure if they're going to put her back in or not, but a special night obviously for Jaden Feist. So North looking to work it on the perimeter. Great job there hedging the screen by Brenna Dick. She had an idea there to jump out in front of that one, see if she could generate a turnover.
Well, I think she's gotten 3 or 4 of those steals tonight as Grace Steele, the freshman's or the 8th grader, is going to go to the line here as the Spartans are going to be in the bonus the rest of the way, and she makes the first one. Some excitement over there on the North bench. Maybe her first career point as an 8th grader tonight. I don't know.
We did watch her in the JV game. She was pretty special in the JV game as well. So now the Mustangs with the dribble handoff, little weave action, probably getting something started here at the nice little floater again. That's the same thing that Manson had earlier. This one ends up with a Elena Holder offensive rebound. She's going to get to the free throw line. We talked about this, Coach, previously, that Hintz wants to bring something special to the culture of this program where he wants girls that are engaged on the bench as well, and, that they really, and, he obviously you see on the posters everywhere, Ubuntu, it's a culture where he wants girls to not just play for one another, but actually have joy out of the success of their teammates, and that culture seems to be really contagious right now.
It really does, and I think Coach Hintz, basketball was great, and obviously has a passion for it, and as a teacher and those sorts of things, but I think he's one of those coaches that just gets that life is bigger than just sports. Life is bigger than just those moments, and you don't really focus just on the aspect of sport or basketball. Yeah, that's what brings this group together, but really being a family and being genuinely happy, as you said, for the success of your teammates. And that's, I think, something that's lost in high school sports these days. I think everyone is, lots of kids are looking out for number one and the opportunities
and you know what, that
they
coach,
have.
Sorry to cut you off, but that sequence right there was a microcosm of what we're just talking about. It was Carson Sanders with the seal. You had 3 Mustangs with open looks, but each one of them made the extra pass. It actually ends up back in the hands of Carson Sanders, and she makes the bucket. So beautiful. 5:42 to go. We're going to take a quick timeout. Join us after the break. So it is 85-33, 5:42. Jaden Feist does finish with 33 points. Unlikely that she's going to get back in this basketball game. Of course, I was cheering for that action to happen. I think Brian Kaluza, coach for the Fargo North Spartans, probably would have understood. You keep the senior in because it is senior night, but certainly a show of sportsmanship by Hintz to keep the senior out and let her finish on a high note as well. So respect both that decision as well. So I will say, though, Kaluza, you know, he's a friend of both of ours. He did make fun of my shirt tonight. He did ask me what color my shirt was and why I was wearing such a color, but so I did say I was going to make fun of him a little bit on the broadcast. I've taken it easy on him so far, but you know, Kaluza's a good guy. He's got a program that he's trying to work to build here too. He's got girls at the younger levels that are certainly developing, and obviously, you know, tonight the score, and we've talked about this, Coach, because sometimes the Mustangs are the other end of that. You know, you work with these girls because it's more than just about basketball, and you're trying to think long term. And Kaluza's a guy that understands that, and he wants to continue to build that program in the right way.
Yeah, I think both coaches believe that very much, that there's so many lessons to be learned from high school athletics that are beyond wins and losses, and it's about giving your best effort and being a good teammate and being part of a culture and a family and those sorts of things. And yeah, you know, North is going to come out on the short end of this tonight, and obviously Cheyenne's the better team tonight, but the cupboard isn't bare at Fargo North. I think we've seen flashes and glimpses throughout the JV and the varsity game tonight that Coach Kaluza has them on a good path. You know, you have to work to develop those players. You have to demand a lot of them. They have to buy into what you're doing. But, you know, I certainly think it's not a situation where, you know, North should feel like they're a bad team or anything like that. They're just playing against a better opponent tonight. But I think there are things that they'll be able to take away from this, and they'll be able to become better players and a better team for it. So, you know, hats off both to Coach Hintz and to Coach Kaluza in the way that they approach coaching their programs and getting kids to buy into that.
Rebound goes out to Fargo North. They're going to reset. Looks like they're going to have some substitutions as well for the last 3.5 minutes of this game. Dribble handoff action does free up. That's number 10 for Fargo North, and with that, Kaluza's going to take a timeout, so his girls are going to get a little bit extra time toward the end of this game. So 3:14 to go. Mustangs up big. We're going to take a break.
Central on Friday. And
so we're back here, live action. So with 3:14 to go, Coach Wolf and I, as you probably heard during the break, we were just talking about upcoming games here. I think Tuesday night, Mustang Media is going to be covering. The girls, I think, are taking on Red River.
And Red River, one of the top teams in the East, so this is going to be a good test for Coach Hintz and kind of that litmus test to know where they stand.
And if memory serves, I believe the Mustangs gave Red River a really tough matchup. Actually had a lead late in that game, and I think it came down to a 1 or 2 point finish down the stretch, Red River victory. So I think the Mustangs are going to feel good, at least matchup-wise, that they know that they can hang in there with Red River, who is obviously a very talented bunch.
Absolutely, and then both the girls and the boys are playing against Grand Forks Central next Friday. The girls will be traveling up to Central. The boys will be playing at home, and that's the second to last game for the regular season for both programs. And the following week, the girls and boys finish with Valley City, and the girls will be here at home, and we should have that broadcast for you. So EDC tournament is coming. There'll be a lot of, I'm sure, jockeying with both the boys and girls programs in these last couple weeks as everyone's trying to nail down that position and probably hoping to avoid that play-in game and maybe hoping to avoid a top seed having to play them in that quarterfinal round of the EDC tournament. But exciting time coming up.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before, but obviously, EDC tournament is going to play out a little bit differently. You don't have one location for all of the games. The first 2 rounds are going to be held at the higher seed, so maybe a little bit more emphasis played on seeding, especially in those kind of middle seeds. Getting an extra home game is going to be big for any squad that's in that 3, 4, 5, 6 range. Because that might be the difference between whether or not you make the state tournament or not.
Absolutely. To have a chance to lock in a berth at the state tournament while hosting a home game against a rival is a pretty good perk. And so that will be interesting to see how that plays out. And obviously, for those of you that follow the high school basketball know that the state tournament's going to have a different look to it in the 2021 campaign here, where the state tournament's going to a 4-day event, and they're going to wrap up on a Sunday as everyone's still trying to juggle the realities of COVID and try and get games taken care of and keep kids healthy so that everyone's able to participate and no one loses players or have to forfeit a game because of some kind of COVID-related situation.
Yeah, so this year's state title game, I believe, is actually going to be held on a Sunday. So that will be at least first in my recollection. So 1:50 to go here. So the Mustangs, coach, are sitting right now in the 6th spot. They are 6.5 back from the number 1 seed, the Devils Lake. Is sitting at 14-1, and so is Fargo Davies. So they're tied right now for first place. But above them, as you said, Red River, they're rivals from in town here, West Fargo High. And then right above them is Fargo Shanley. And so, again, especially the way EDC plays out these cross-bracketed games, you may end up with a home game that might determine whether or not you get into that tournament. So you never know how that's going to play out.
That's exactly right. And, while Davies and Devils Lake have been able to sweep Cheyenne this year, we know that Cheyenne won at Shanley. We know that the girls program just a week ago or so had a tie game with West Fargo at West Fargo deep in the second half. And we mentioned just a few minutes ago, you mentioned the fact that we took Red River down to the wire at Red River. So, that crossover game, that could be pretty big. And so, if you feel like this is a team that you match up particularly well against, or they do some things that you feel like you can take advantage of, that could be a pretty big deal. And so, Cheyenne's a 6th seed right now, but I don't think, where we've talked about the boys, how there's such a disparity between the top 3 teams and the teams that come after it. I don't think that spread is quite as large with the girls' EDC standings. I think there's a lot more teams that are potential threats to other teams. And, if you've been around sports any significant period of time, a lot of it is determined by matchups. There might be a team that, you struggle with, even though everyone else seems to play them pretty easily, and for whatever reason, they just work you hard and that sort of stuff. As Grace Thiel bombs a 3-pointer here, the North bench going crazy for her.
So both teams will have some great memories tonight, despite the ending of this game, and you got to love that when you see a team that's still cheering like that. And then she gets another opportunity at the rim there. So it has been pretty exciting. Kind of for both ends there. You got Jaden Feist coming away with a spectacular night. And for North,
you have a young player just embarking on her career, and for Cheyenne, you have a great senior leader in Jaden Feist as she's looking to close out her career, and that's the cycle of high school sports.
It sure is. Put an 8th grader up there, and everybody's cheering for her, and that's going to wrap up the end of this game, but obviously it was a fun one, Coach. It really was. The score maybe look a little lopsided at the end of the day, but both teams have some things that they're going to look back on and remember fondly.
Absolutely, and 2 big weeks coming up as we settle in towards that stretch run for the EDC pairings and seedings and those sorts of things. And so if you're a high school basketball fan, you should be really looking forward to these next couple weeks, whether it's on the girls or the boys side. So get out and support your teams. We know that the state has lifted a lot of the COVID restrictions in terms of attendance and those sorts of things. So I think the schools are open for business again, Coach.
I think that's the way it is, and that's the way it ought to be. So we're excited to actually have everything kind of returning a little bit to normalcy. And with that, you know, the Mustangs come away with a victory 94-38 here tonight. Friday night game, it's cold outside, but certainly the Mustangs were hot in this gym. And for Jaden Feist, quite frankly, it was really fun to watch. So we're going to wrap it up with just a reminder of our sponsors tonight. In particular, we want to remind you that Bell Bank Mortgage is one of our proud sponsors. Bell Bank Mortgage is proud to support West Fargo Cheyenne sports, whether you're in the classroom, at home, or both. We hope you're inspired this season to push yourself beyond what you ever even imagined. And never stop learning. Go Mustangs. Bell Bank Mortgage, equal housing lender. With that, Coach, you know, the final thought, what is it that, Jaden Feist is going to remember tonight?
You know, in all honesty, I think, like we mentioned earlier, she's a person that, yeah, she'll probably remember that she had a decent game, but really probably for her what's been most important is those relationships that she's built with her teammates, and that's what she's going to be remembered about this night, is just how much her teammates mean to her, how much she means to them, and really just I think the joy that she had from competing for this program and doing the best that she could. So
couldn't have said it better myself, Coach. Special night for Jaden, good night for the Mustangs. So for Aaron Knodel,
this is Dan Wolf.
We're going to sign off. Join us this coming week for a couple more editions of what we're going to offer for you in Mustang Media.
Well, I love working with Marvin. I'm always given an opportunity to learn new things. There's never really a dull moment.
When my buddies from out of town ask me where I work, I love to share it. There's always opportunities. You can always move up.
Come in here willing to learn, and if you're willing to do
the people here is what makes the workplace enjoyable. It's a great place to work.
Great benefit package, and as I've been here even for a few years, I've seen that package being adjusted and tailored to try to meet our needs better.
Your experience coming in, our experience that we have here, makes a great combination that we invite.
That generation that helped build this company to what it is today is now getting to retirement age, and we're now to that point in the company where a newer generation of workforce is stepping up to the plate. We're finding our own adventure. I think that's exciting. It is an exciting time to be a part of the Marvin.